So what's it like doing double the work? It's hard work landing managed service clients, and then there's the constant hard work of making sure those clients are happy. You may be happy to bend over backwards to offer a great customer service. You've got a vested interest in it. But what about your staff? What if they don't all share your passion for bending over backwards? What if that's having a long-term impact on retention that you won't feel until it's too late? Good news. There is a fix. A few months back, I was staring at huge amounts of delicious food in a brand new cafe that I'd never been in before. It was actually inside a meeting venue in central London, and I'd been meeting some really cool people there. And we were delighted to discover that the in-house cafe was serving real food, not just the usual crusty old sandwiches. And the food was subsidised, and it was really cheap, like a hot meal for £5, which is about $6.50, something like that. That's a bargain, right? So the only problem was the complete lack of flexibility demonstrated by the staff. They would only sell the set meals on the menu. And here's how my ordering experience went. And I'm going to tell you line by line because I did write it down after it happened. I started by saying, "Hey, can I have a jacket potato with just cheese, please?" And the server said, "That comes with cheese and beans." And I said, "Well, I don't want the beans, so can I just have cheese, please?" And the server said, "You don't want beans?" And I said, "No, I don't want beans." And the server said, "But it comes with beans." And I said, "Well, I don't like beans. I just want to have cheese, please." And then I kind of paused a beat and I looked down and I spotted that there was broccoli. And I said, "Oh, actually, can I swap my beans for broccoli?" Don't judge me on having a baked potato with cheese and broccoli. I just like that. But anyway, the server said, "No, I'm really sorry, but it's only cheese and beans." And I actually stared at her at this point. I was genuinely astonished. And I said, "So I can't have broccoli?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Well, can I pay extra for the broccoli? Because it looks really good. And now I just want some broccoli." And she said, "No." This is genuinely what happened. She said, "No, you can only have cheese and beans." And I said, "Really?" And she actually said these words. She said, "It's our policy. You get some side salad, but broccoli isn't side salad." And I said, "Well, what if I don't have beans and I don't have the side salad, but I have some broccoli instead?" And she kind of thought for a second, and then she said, no, we can't do that." And I said, "Really?" I said, "But you'll make more money on the meal, so let me pay extra. I'd like to have broccoli." And the server said, and I know this is how bad this conversation was going. She said, "Look, if you want broccoli, you'll need to order a meal that comes with vegetables. Jacket potatoes, they come with cheese, they come with beans, they come with a side salad, they do not come with vegetables." And at this point, I was aware that there was a long queue behind me. Everyone was starting to grumble. I was that guy. So I said, "All right, I'll just have the potato and cheese then, please." And I looked really sad and I had a glum face, and also made a mental note to buy broccoli on the way home. It didn't taste as good at home because it never does. Now, I promise you, I haven't exaggerated that story at all. My gut feel is that the server showed this complete lack of flexibility because of the culture of that cafe. And maybe their whole day is geared around efficiently serving the hundreds of people who have meetings at that venue. So somewhere along the line, rather than do what's best for the customer, they've developed a policy of never deviating off the menu, because that makes sense, doesn't it, for an efficient process. But surely the staff should be given initiative to do something simple that customers would like swap one dish for another. In my business, the MSP Marketing Edge, we do have a culture of you should do whatever makes marketing easy for our members. And this drives everything that we do. And it means that my team very rarely need to check in with me. So if a member asks them to do something that's a little bit off-piste, it's not what we would normally do. If we can help, and if it makes marketing easy for that person, then my team just do it. They use their initiative, so we don't have to have conversations about should we do this. It's our culture, it's our mission, and we keep it alive by feeding it every day and talking every day about what can we do to make marketing easy for our members. A culture doesn't come from putting up a sign on office walls. It doesn't come from telling your staff how to behave. It doesn't come from standard operating procedures. It doesn't come from what's obvious to you as the owner. Because as a side note, what's obvious to us as business owners is very, very rarely obvious to our team. If we don't tell them exactly what we want and why we want it, they are constantly trying to guess what we want and then give it to us. And this is a huge source of stress, both to you and to your staff. A culture needs to be alive. It needs to be nurtured every day. Every conversation you have internally, every meeting, every project, you have to openly talk about your mission. You have to remind yourself that everything you do is aimed at the thing you're trying to do. This is what we do when we're talking about making marketing easy for MSPs. Because we know internally here, the more that we do that, the more MSPs will join us, and therefore the more successful we will all be together, which is great. And it's no different within your MSP. So that leads me to an interesting question for you. Do your technicians have the power to use their initiative? And more importantly, do they know that they have that power? Flexibility and initiative needs to be a culture within an MSP, not a policy or a sign that's on a wall. And I know there's a fine line between what the clients think you should be doing for them and what you're actually doing for them. And expectation setting is a huge thing for you. But I promise you, a culture of do whatever makes technology easy for clients would be a very powerful retention weapon within your MSP. Do you agree?
Paul Green's MSP Marketing Edge.